Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in. The next 10 minutes are inspired by a couple nature documentaries. I hope you enjoy it. Welcome to the engine. I do watch occasionally these small clips on Instagram, and I can't help it. I'm a sucker for the nature kind of clip things. There's a rhinoceros running at the camera that I saw the other day. It looked pretty awesome. And one thing that I saw a couple years ago was bonkers. So, big cat, presumably in Africa, a leopard or something like that, kind of stalking along the bank of a river, and you don't really know what the cat's doing. I'm like, what's going on here? And it's crouching down, and it's looking at something in the water. Again, you have no idea because you can't see in the water. All you see is this big cat doing something. And then after about 15, 20 seconds, the cat leaps into the air. Now, cats hate water. So the fact that it was diving into the river, I'm like, what the hell is this thing doing? Lands, and all of a sudden there's all of this commotion, water splashing everywhere, ripples, white water, blah, 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 blah. And it's dragging this thing out. And you realize that this leopard or cheetah, whatever it was, jumped onto like a caiman or an alligator, got that sucker in the back of the head, like in the neck, and the reptile was thrashing and going crazy, but it was just shallow enough, and the cat got it tight enough with its jaws that it dragged it out of the water. And when it gets it out of the water, you realize the reptile, like the alligator, is easily the size of the cat. And I was watching this video of like, how in the hell is the cat managing to pull this thing, wriggling and thrashing out of the water, which is obviously the reptile's domain? And it was amazing. I watched that video. I was like, oh my God, that is bonkers. I watched it like easily 10 times. I'm like, God, man. And I imagine the little, little cat cubs. I don't know what you call them. Baby cats that the thing's feeding, or just it going up into a tree and dining on some alligator tail. And it was interesting. I watched it and I liked it. I obviously remembered it. And I saw something yesterday that killed me. I only watched it once. So, same kind of scene. And it was, I think, a cheetah drinking at the side of this river. And the cheetah appears to have some urgency. It's drinking really fast. Like, I can't replicate how a cheetah drinks, but you get the you get the idea. So it's drinking fast. It's not this leisurely thing. Its eyes are kind of half cocked up, and there's an anxiety to the movement. And I'm like, okay, so again, I'm watching this for like 10, 15 seconds. Like, what the hell's going on? And all of a sudden, like Crocodile Dundee style, this crocodile launches out of the water, snatches the cheetah around like a leg or the throat or something, and the cheetah is clawing at this thing, thrashing, and it's pulling it into the water. And just terror is running through my veins at this moment. And the alligator's turning around, and you realize the cheetah has completely lost footing with the ground, and it's clawing and clawing. You see it's underwater now because the alligator dragged it underwater, and part of it's going underwater, so you know the cheetah can't breathe. My God, I'm getting a little worked up just talking about it. And then it just disappears underwater and the water goes still. And that actually almost brought me to tears watching it. And I only watched it once, and I was upset that I saw it. And the image that's been running through my head over the last 24 hours is that of this cheetah just getting drowned by this alligator. It's one of my worst nightmares to drown, especially a violent drowning. And I can't get over it. I couldn't get over it for all the last day. I mean, it's still bothering me now. And I've been thinking about it because when I saw it, I kind of remembered the cheetah eating the caiman, right? When the big cat jumps off the bank and it wins. And I thought that was amazing and awesome. And I've been trying to make myself feel better about it in the same way. So I started thinking about, like, well, that alligator probably has like little baby alligators that need to eat. That did nothing for me. I didn't care about the baby alligators. And then I started thinking, like, hey, look, circle of life. Life eats life. That's the way it goes. I eat chicken. I eat beef. I eat things. And, chickens are crazy and they eat things. Like, life eats life. Didn't make me feel any better. And I don't know, now that I've run through all of these things, if there's anything ever that could make me feel better about seeing the alligator get the cheetah, because it was just so upsetting to see that kind of thing play out. But here's the thing that I've been thinking about. The cheetah eating the reptile, or the reptile eating the cheetah, both are valid in the face of the world, right? And I started thinking about, like, look, you got to have sympathy. You got to have understanding that, you're going to have things eating other things. And the fact that I eat chicken or beef, that's just as valid and relevant as this alligator eating the cheetah. And, it's all equal. It's all fair. They both get a shot. They both have to survive. And I actually started thinking about people eating alligators, and, like, alligator tail's a thing in the South. And I've had it before. It's actually really good. But nothing I could say made me feel better about it. Because at the end of the day, I think what it comes down to is I'm on team mammal, right? If you're a mammal, I don't want you getting eaten by an alligator, right? If you're a cow, I don't want you getting eaten by an alligator. Now, I will eat a steak, right? That's fine. I don't want you getting eaten by an alligator, right? Like, I kind of have an understanding with that, where it's like, hey, this is kind of the way it goes. We're on a certain team. And the alligator, say you're an alligator person, you're on team alligator. You're like, look, I don't care. I love alligators. I love reptiles. And if somebody's got to get eaten, I want it to be the mammal, not the reptile. And all of that is fine. That's not complex or confusing at all. But I think what we have to come to realize is, even though we're all compassionate, and even though we can all have sympathy, and even though we can all try to walk a mile in somebody else's shoes, fine. At the end of the day, we're going to be on teams. And some teams are more galvanizing, and some people defend their teams more intensely. But the bottom line is, there is nothing you can do to get me to root for the alligator against the cheetah. I'm always going to be on team cheetah. And that's one of the biggest things going on right now, in my community especially. I'm on team student. I want kids back in school. Now, I am not unsympathetic to the other side. I understand some people don't want to send their kids back to school, which I have no problem with, by the way. I don't think sending kids back to school stops other kids from not going back to school. If they want to do homeschooling, or if they want to do a hybrid or remote learning, that's fine. I don't have a problem with that. But the other side is essentially, hey, teachers need to be protected. And I understand. I'm not debating that. We need to take all necessary precautions to make sure teachers are safe, just like we take all necessary precautions to make sure our bus drivers are safe, to make sure our checkers at grocery store are safe, to make sure that all these other people are safe that we depend on, 100%. And by the way, I put my money where my mouth is. I have my students in my classroom to do prep. I have them, we're wearing masks, I have HEPA filters going, I do temp checks on them, but I am not asking or advocating for a position that I myself do not take personally. But there's nothing you're going to do to get me to say that, hey, a certain portion of teachers, let's say 1,000 teachers, are more important than the 10,000 students and the 20 or 30,000 individuals that those students live with and part of their families. I mean, there's nothing that's going to take me off of the team student. And there's also likely nothing that's going to make the teachers off of team teacher. I think there is, at some point, a valuable kind of position where you take everybody's considerations and you try to work with them and you recognize everybody's position's valid. Fine. But at the end of the day, we're going to be on teams. And at the end of the day, there are some people that you will never change their mind with. And I don't necessarily think they're bad people. That's the point. The alligator's not bad. I'm just not rooting for him. And the people that want teachers to not have to go back to work until there are 0 cases of COVID, those aren't bad people. I don't agree with them. They're not my team, but they're not bad people. And that's the only thing that really matters that we remember. It doesn't matter that we necessarily try to get everyone on the same team. That's never going to happen. What matters is that we recognize that we can be on separate teams and still be good people. I don't like it if your team wins. I don't like the fact that the public school kids are not allowed to go back to school in my area and aren't going to go back to school for months and months and months. I don't like that at all. That's not my team. But the bottom line is, if we don't recognize that we can be on separate teams and those people aren't bad, and I am not rooting for that team to win, by the way. Let me be really clear. I'm not rooting for that team to win. What we will lose is the fact that we're all on the same team as far as our community. We're all on our town team. We're all on the California team. But even within our neighborhood, we're all in my neighborhood on the same team. We're Matt's neighborhood team. So, look, you're not going to necessarily flip teams. You're not necessarily going to convince people to flip teams. And I don't think it's a bad thing that we are opposing teams. That's fine. Let's just not go down the road of forgetting that we're all on the same community team. We all want what's best for the community. That doesn't mean we have to be on the same page on this issue, but for sure, we need to not make personal attacks and try to destroy our community to get our team to win. Because at the end of the day, it's not going to matter if our schools are open. But our team community, that larger team that we're all a part of, if that's destroyed, our schools won't matter. I'm Matt Todd, and this is the engine that drives me. Go out and crush it.